Hello, Wake Up New Zealand, Karaseki speaking. Even with COVID-19, they have linked that to zero carbons, climate alarmism. Abuse has been linked to climate alarmism. Everything you can think of has been linked to climate alarmism. Well, you have to wonder about it because we live on a carbon-based planet. And without CO2, all the plants, the animals, the humans, those billions of trees that they aim to plant would wither and die. We are absolutely reliant on CO2. And they talk about gases, greenhouse gases not escaping, but they do. They go up through the atmosphere and they escape into the night sky. And if they didn't, it would be like the Sahara Desert in our cities. So again, they are lying to you. So what we hear about is all about data in, data out, all the stuff that we do not even understand. And they alter it, they have biases, they have predictions, etc., and different indicators. So what we're talking about is brainwashing, greenwashing, indoctrinating vulnerable people, our children in our schools. And in England, mental health services talk about how children have been caused anxiety, nightmares, unable to sleep because of this anxiety that that's come about because of what they've been taught in schools about climate, the rising of the seas, the premature ending to the earth, and the planet on fire. And it has affected many children. So they have officially given this a name, and it's called eco-alarmism. So we need to be really, really sure that our children are not suffering from this. We need to check out, are they okay? Because they've got enough going on at the moment, and it's all being dumped on them with this sea of eyes and mass. You know, I have to wonder what is going through those young minds. So, over 2 years now, children of 2 years old, they've known nothing different. So then seeing mum in a hurricane fence that could get a mosquito through around her mouth. So CO2, well, there's a lot of CO2 around. So I guess they can use it a lot to target it to get lots of wealth and gain lots of power. So the Council of Rome. Now, the Council of Rome consists of 100 members, and they're selected from former heads of state, government, UN admins, high-level politicians, etc. And Helen Clark is one of those. So they wrote a book called The Limits to Growth in 1971, and it was anchored by the Club of Rome. This was intended to be a blueprint for the 21st century that puts forward a strategy for the world's survival as the onset of the world's very first global revolution. So in 1991, the Council of Club of Rome documented the following. In searching for a new enemy to unite us all, we came up with the idea of pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famines. We thought that would fit the bill to unite us all. All of these, they said, are dangers caused by human intervention. The real enemy is humanity itself. So greenhouse gases, they actually cool the earth. They do escape at night time up in through the atmosphere. And if they didn't, it would be much hotter today than what it is. So what you hear about this is absolutely rubbish when they talk about the blanket around the earth. What I'm talking about are connective towers. This is what scientists call it when the greenhouse gases actually escape up through into the atmosphere and dissipate. They call that connective towers. That's a scientific name for it. So, as I say, it's easy to target all that CO2 for lots of wealth. So 2019 UN reported that these global goals were failing the UN Agenda 2030 goals, and 17 out of 17 of those were climate alarmism. So therefore, what they did was the WEF, the World Economic Forum, and the UN actually agreed to official partnership where they came together, and the WEF represents multi-stakeholder corporations, large companies, big data, big pharma, etc. And they partnered the UN, which means UN that determines international laws. Now just join the dots. So that was to accelerate UN Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, the Global Development Goals, to leave no one behind, everyone, everywhere, at every age. Now multi-stakeholder corporations, large companies, are being certified with what they call a B Lab or B Corp. Now that's just for wealthy corporations and companies. And who funds that? Bill Gates, of course. So we're talking about the Green Deal, the greenwashing, the green religion that's demanded, forced upon us worldwide to accelerate a new normal, to re-engineer the way we live, what we eat, the way we think, re-engineer our behaviour, re-engineer society, infrastructure, economy, etc. And this has all been done by eco-socialist Marxists, communists, governments worldwide, the UN and WEF partnership, the global public, global corporate governance that rules us all. So our government hence has made us the servants, or treating us like the servants when they are supposed to serve us. So the puppets of the WEF, Klaus Schwab puppets, are the global leaders like Ardern, Macron, Trudeau, Putin and Merkel. They're just a few, and now they're all pushed into global leadership roles. So we're talking about climate alarmism, there's 17 of the global goals, where when the dinosaurs walked this earth, climate was a lot hotter then. And we didn't have belching cows either. So, you know, most of what our Earth atmosphere is made of around us is actually water. And that's what it is, vaporized water. So the green religion, we now have the Green Pope. In 2021, the Pope and dozens of religious leaders committed themselves to supporting the green religion and the green economy. So greenwashing. The Pope supported greenwashing in 2015. The new paganism. The Pope merging two religions, the green religion and the Roman Catholic religion. That was reported on the 22nd of June 2015. Michael Crichton, 2003, he was a science fiction writer, warned San Francisco audience about the sacralization of the environment, drawing an analogy between religion and environmentalism, and that's what's happened. So, like organic food for communion, the pesticide-free wafer that the right people with the right beliefs have. Now the Pope has fused the church doctrine with environmental doctrine. In places like China, Italy, air pollution and toxins have killed millions of people, yet the Pope and churches are pushing this. So, the Pope's not doing too badly. He's worth 2.5 millions and more, and he preaches inequality. How dare he? And he's also blesses business plans. It was reported in the New York Times. A new initiative brings the Vatican and CEOs together. The Pope, Vatican, the latest supporter of multi-stakeholder corporations. He's actually invested in these corporations into a powerful force for good, he said. He's made several investments with business leaders. Johnson & Johnson, Salesforce, and several other Fortune 500 companies are joining the Council for Inclusive Capitalism with the Vatican in 2020. And that's what happened. Big companies, corporations joining the Vatican's affiliated council pledgings. So we've also got the Eco Church in New Zealand. And the Eco Church in New Zealand, just a week or so ago, was actually given by the Wellington City Council $20,000 in funding for what they are doing towards zero carbons 2030, their climate action plan, promoting UN sustainable development, UN Agenda 2030, the one script for all. So, project partner of Eco Church includes ARA Organisation New Zealand, and they have Creative Connections series for children, and it goes on. So we've got Rocher Campaign for Zero Carbons, who partner the Eco Churches, renewing our world and indoctrinating our children to produce flyers, presentations, to meet zero climate actions, and let's not forget about the climate action strikes, where the children come out of school for climate action strikes, shouting out. So Rocher is funded by many people, and that also, we're talking about grants, trusts, churches, governments, and intergovernment organisations, etc. So that funding from Wellington Council was the 16th of March 2022. Now IPCC UN, it's reported that they've done lots of mispresenting of information. It's been inconsistent, misleading, dangerously misleading, and there's 50 years of failed predictions. These predictions have never come true. That's corrupting, that where we have corrupt governments who know this and still keep on down this path, who will rob your pockets, to rob you of your jobs, etc., and to make this country go for broke. This is all part of the new normal. So these are a few of them. The failures that never hit print of the global media, the national media, the propaganda machine. Salt Lake Tribune, 17th of November 1967. Forecast by 1975, Stanford University biologist Paul Ehrlich pushes population control by making it involuntary by putting sterilization agents into foods and drinks. What he said is the world is becoming overpopulated, so he's suggesting putting sterilization agents into foods and drinks to so that we have less people living on this earth. But the populations are going down all over the world anyway. The population in New Zealand has gone from 2.1 to 1.6 in quite a short time. So increased abortions, and now we have assisted suicide. And the suicide figures have actually gone up, significantly so, and likely to go up more with what's going on right now. So we're talking about New York Times, 1969. Unless we're extremely lucky, everyone would disappear and a cloud of blue steam in 20 years' time. 1969, 1989, we're still here. And things will get worse if we don't change our behaviour. This is what Paul Ehrlich reports. Professor Paul Ehrlich, ecologist. New York Times, 10th of August 1969. Ice Age by 2000. Boston Globe, April the 16th, 1970. Scientist predicts a new ice age by the 21st century, and pollution may obliterate the sun. The dams for cooling water will bore dry the entire flow of rivers and streams of the continental US. So no direct streams, no rivers, they've all gone dry in the US. So 6th of October 1970, Professor Ehrlich, ecologist, reports oceans will be as dead as Lake Erie in less than a decade. Decade is 10 years, by 1980. And he said that US will be subject to water rationing and food rationing by 1974 and 1980. US scientists see ice age coming. The Washington Post. Times Herald, 4th of July, 1971. Washington Post, 9th of July, 1971. New ice age by 2070. Brown University, who wrote to the White House, Washington. Global deterioration of the climate. Extreme weather, snowstorms, killer frosts, low food production by 1971. Guardian, January the 29th, 1974. Satellites show new ice age is coming fast. NASA data, 1976. Cooling, New York Times book review, 18th of July, 1975. And it talks about the cooling and coldness that we have got coming, and says it's going to get a lot worse. In 1978, Associated Press, no end in sight of 30-year cooling trend in the Northern Hemisphere. The Canberra Times, 26th of September, 1988, threat to the islands of Maldives. The sea level is threatening the Indian Ocean nation of 1,196 islands in the next 30 years. 2018 was still here. So that would be the end of the Maldives and 200,000 people. And their drinking water supplies would dry up by 1992. This is what the Canberra Times said. 1989, UN official source agency France Press reported 1989, New York City's West Side Highway underwater by 2019. It's still okay, it's above water. By year 2000, children won't know what snow is. That it will disappear from everyone's lives. The Guardian, 2004, 21st of February. Pentagon tells Bush climate change will destroy us. Britain will be the next Siberia by 2020, and this will be a greater threat than terrorism. So the Angus Press, 24th of June, 2008, NASA scientists, the Arctic is at a tipping point, and it's going to be ice-free within 10 years. 2018, still got ice. 2008, Al Gore warns of ice-free Arctic by 2013, and the North Polar ice cap would have disappeared. He told those on TV, a German audience at COP15 climate conference. Prince Charles in 2009 stated only 8 years to save the planet. 2017, we're still here, Prince Charles. 20th of October 2009, Gordon Brown, ex-UK Prime Minister, said 50 days to save the planet. Peter Wadhams, he's a professor with ecology, warns. 2013, ice-free Arctic in 2 years because of methane catastrophe. US Navy predicts summer ice-free Arctic by 2016. US Department of Energy backed the research. So French Foreign Minister, 500 days to avoid climate chaos, May the 14th, 2004. And so the predictions go on and on and on. Wellington City Council funds Eco Church New Zealand for climate action to zero carbons. And that's what's happening. All predictions that have not come true. And yet, these churches, eco churches, the Church of England, the Pope, the Roman Catholic Church, have joined together and are pushing this zero carbons, this eco-socialist, Marxist, communist demands that we obey a one script for all, for everyone, everywhere, leave no one behind, where the 1% wealthy billionaires of this world ruin society, purposely so, to redesign our lives, what our diet is, how we live, the roof over our head, everything we do, the transport, everything. And this is what's happening. And the churches that are right behind it. It's bloody disgusting. Wake up, New Zealand, because we have the green religion that are collaborating with the Eco Church, the Church of England, and I would say other churches in New Zealand.